If you have a large footprint in China, you make your business dependent on China, do not bank on the German government bailing you out if something goes wrong. And I think it's really important that we don't privatize gains and socialize long-term risks from engaging in other markets.
新闻硬邦邦听新闻嘴传，我是节目主持人斯坦，欢迎各位收看。Right now, I'm in Brussels at the IPAC summit, and I have an honor to interview Johannes Volkmann from the Cdu party, from the Christian Democratic Union of Germany. And it's an honor. I just realized that MP Volkmann speaks great Mandarin Chinese.
Nali, nali.
It was like a huge surprise for me. And today we'll be discussing because the IPAC is focused on China policies, we'll be discussing China-Germany relationships and the current state of affairs between Germany and Taiwan. So, Herr Volkmann, what do you think about today's summit?
I think the IPAC summit is a great opportunity to talk to fellow lawmakers from all over the world. You know, we have people from Australia to Panama who come here to discuss common challenges, and it really gives us a chance to have open dialogue on the things that all of our countries face right now.
Yeah, and because most of the issues are focused on China, how do you estimate the current China-Germany relationships?
Well, China is our foremost trading partner, and so it's a really important economic relationship for Germany. But increasingly, there are also concerns about dependencies in the field of critical raw materials, for example. More and more German enterprises struggle to get the resources that they need to continue producing the goods that they want to make. And hence, we're increasingly concerned that it's not merely about partnership, but also systemic rivalry, and so that is something that we seek to manage as the new German government.
Do you see that there are any national security concerns in terms of German-Chinese relationships?
Well, that increasingly as well. I think if we look at issues like economic security, they have to be discussed alongside questions of research security.
Yeah.
So we had individual cases, for example, recently at the University of Munich, where it was found or alleged that Chinese spies were trying to get at our research secrets, and that is something that we need to take very seriously. And I think perhaps the China conversation that we have in Germany is a couple of years behind the China conversation that other English-speaking countries have, but we're catching up quite quickly because of these events that keep on happening. And let me also stress one example of an AfD politician whose assistant, while he was a member of the European Parliament, currently he's a colleague in the German Bundestag, was convicted of spying for China by a court in Germany, and that of course is a very severe form of interference in the parliamentary business of the European Union and of Germany.
And in terms of economic security, you just said that Germany is dependent on certain raw materials. Are there any solutions or any strategies to diversify the risk and find maybe new sources?
Diversification is key to de-risking. So we need more partnerships. We have a couple of resource agreements, but very few projects have materialized under these agreements. And there needs to be coordination, not just among Germans and Europeans, but I think more broadly among all the countries that have these challenges, that we have more resilient supply chains that are not dependent on single source of origin, because we've seen already in the pandemic, even without political malice, having a single source of origin for something that's key for your economic production creates unmanageable risks. And so when it comes to really critical raw materials, also those are necessary for defense and for other key productions, we need to find these partnerships and we need to implement them as soon as possible.
And right now there is a new government in Germany and a new chancellor. Do you think that Chancellor Merz's strategy would be different from Chancellor Scholz and from the previous government, and what the differences will be in terms of China strategy?
I think already the previous government, they've outlined for the first time a written China strategy. There isn't necessarily a revolution of our China policy, but more of an evolutionary approach. So a lot of points that the previous government, even though we were in opposition, wrote down are very reasonable when it comes to de-risking. Is one of the examples to managing our economic dependencies. For us, I think the key question is now how do we implement that, and that is something that we're working on, and where Chancellor Merz, for example, was very clear in his speeches earlier this year to German business leaders. If you have a large footprint in China, you make your business dependent on China, do not bank on the German government bailing you out if something goes wrong. And I think it's really important that we don't privatize gains and socialize long-term risks from engaging in other markets.
So this is a great statement. Don't privatize gains and socialize losses.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
Yeah, this is like,
because fundamentally it's about pricing in geoeconomic risks.
Yeah.
And we've seen in our energy policy that we didn't do that with Russia.
Yeah.
And it cost us dearly in the long run.
Yeah.
And I think we are well advised not to repeat the same mistakes.
And there is also that issue of bear-dragon alliance, and with China fueling the Russian war against Ukraine.
I mean, unlike, I would still very much differentiate between Russia and China. For me, China is a partner in some fields. You know, we need good cooperation, whether it's on climate change, whether it's on having a solid trade relationship. Unlike Russia, it is not actively murdering Europeans at the moment. So there is a difference, and I hope very much that China also plays a constructive role in resolving Russia's aggression against Ukraine.
And we've been talking about China a lot, but during this summit, Taiwan came up many times. What do you think about the current state of Germany-Taiwan relationships? And there has been that huge investment by TSMC in Dresden. What do you think about that? And how do you see the future between Germany and Taiwan?
I think it's a positive thing that we have friendly trading relations. There is lots of research cooperation, youth and cultural exchanges, and I would be keen on seeing these relationships deepened.
Where do you see the key areas of future cooperation with Taiwan?
With Taiwan, some of the fields that I mentioned. I think Taiwan is a leading high-tech economy. We have a lot to learn mutually. There are lots of things where we can work on different sectors of industry, but also, as I said, on culture, on education, you know, just people-to-people exchanges. So the full breadth of bilateral things that you can do with partners.
Oh, thank you so much, MP Volkmann, and I hope that one day you'll have an opportunity to visit Taiwan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.